Now, the motion tonight, as I'm sure you know, is this House believes that the Pan-Democrats should recognise that progress on constitutional reform means accepting the government's proposals.
I had feared that I would not live to see democracy in Hong Kong, and now I'm pleasantly surprised that if I should live for 10 more years, I might actually see it happen. And I don't see any alternative to accepting the Standing Committee's decision. The thing to do now is to work on what changes can be made in 2012 so as to make the elections for the chief executive and legislature more democratic, and to pave the way for universal suffrage in 2017. And then, of course, there will be elections for the legislature in 2016 and 2020. I know some people have complained that there are no details in the for the 2017 election model, but that's good. We don't want details. We don't want Beijing to be telling us how things should be done. And I think the fact that Beijing is saying that Hong Kong will work out the details is the best that we can hope for. We want the freedom to be able to work things out in Hong Kong and not have Beijing tell us what to do. And so a consensus, I think, is what we have to aim for. And if the Pan-Democrats can work with the other members of the legislature to agree on a model, and 2/3 of the legislature can agree to that, I'm sure that the chief executive would endorse it. I did not see the chief executive rejecting any model that legislature agrees on. And I don't see Beijing rejecting anything that the chief executive endorses. So I think it's entirely up to people in Hong Kong to do that.
And I want to remind Frank of what he said in December of 1996. It was quite different from what he said today, because he wrote this piece in the Review, which I also work for, and then he went on to say, interestingly, this body, which is called the Selection Committee, in 5 years' time, the chief executive will be chosen by an election committee, which will number 800 people. The name change reflects the planned evolution of a more democratic system, which is to culminate in the election of the chief executive through universal suffrage, hopefully in 2007. So in 96, Frank was a lot more hopeful and optimistic. Anyway, I think we grow old, we get wiser. And, but I agree with Frank and others that there are no proposals. That is a decision of the NPCSC. And I don't agree with Ronnie when he said that there are no numbers in the decision. Of course there's a number there, which he corrected himself. It's 2012. The decision is no, no, no in 2012. If you look at the basic law, the decision should be made according to the actual situation in Hong Kong. And ladies and gentlemen, what is the actual situation here? The actual situation here is that more than half, or even 2/3 of the people want to have direct election, to choose the CE and all members of LegCo, even for 0708 and also for 2012. But then the actual decision in Hong Kong is LegCo is dominated by people, some elected by universal suffrage, but many elected by limited franchise. We in the Pan-Democratic camp, in the election of September 04, we got 62% of the votes cast, but we only have 25 out of 60 seats. And that is the actual situation. So the wishes of the people have been twisted and bent. You can be a majority outside, but once you are inside, you are in a minority.